Welcome to the Alliance for Water Efficiency Membership Benefits webinar. My name is Mary Ann Dickinson. I'm the President and CEO of the Alliance. And joining me on this webinar today is Jeffrey Hughes, our Administrative Director. And Jeffrey will be handling all of the questions and the administrative details connected to the webinar. So if you experience any difficulties or if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the dialog box. If you don't see a box on your screen, you'll need to click on the orange arrow that's in a strip of icons to the right of your screen, and that'll open up the dialog box that'll provide you with the information for typing in your question or message to us. So I'm hoping the audio is working fine and the screen shows the Alliance for Water Efficiency and you're able to follow us on this webinar. So in summary, this is a webinar on the benefits of why you should be part of the Alliance for Water Efficiency. We structure this nonprofit organization to be funded largely through memberships. We also receive some grant funding, but our primary source of funding is through memberships of organizations and entities that benefit by the Alliance's presence. And our goal today in this webinar is to discuss with you how that all works. We are planning in this webinar to talk for about an hour. I will talk probably 45 minutes or so, and then have time for questions, 15 minutes or so for questions. The audio is through your telephone or your computer. You can use your computer, microphone, or speakers, or your telephone, whichever you've chosen. If you hear my voice, you automatically already have made that choice and have made that selection. And as I mentioned, questions can be typed in and will be answered at the end. And we are muting the entire phone line because we are recording it. We had received requests that the recording be available not only for those who could not attend the webinar today, but those who might want to download it later or answer questions about membership benefits later. So since we are recording it, we are muting everyone's line to reduce the background noise and to make sure that the webinar is as clear and crisp as possible. We recognize that that means you're not able to engage in a lot of dialogue, but we hope you will bear with us as we think the benefits of recording are outweighing the disadvantages. So just to summarize, why would you join the Alliance for Water Efficiency? What would be the 30-second elevator speech that you would get if you were to be trapped with me in an elevator? And I got to thinking that there were really 3 points that I would make in that elevator ride. We are a one-stop shop on water efficiency. We are the only one-stop shop available to you on all of these issues: federal and state policy, latest news in water efficiency, what are some best practices that yield results, what kinds of research is being undertaken to document the benefits and the issues surrounding water efficiency, and from the consumer's point of view, how do we help you with consumer education? All of those topics we handle. We are a one-stop shop on water efficiency. But secondly, I think the point I would want to make is we have your back. As a member of the Alliance, we are always striving to support what you do, whether you're a water utility, whether you're a business, whether you're an appliance manufacturer or a plumbing products manufacturer, whether you're a researcher at a university, whether you're an environmental or energy advocate. We are your support team for water efficiency. And lastly, we are the sole national voice on water efficiency. We are the only organization, as far as I can tell, even internationally, whose sole purpose is to promote and elevate the issue of water efficiency in policies and programs. So those are the 3 things that really that compose what I would call an elevator speech. Those are the main reasons that we exist. But we want to talk to you in much more specific terms today on this webinar about what that means. What are those component pieces, and what are the actual tangible benefits that you get from being part of this one-stop shop and this sole national voice. So there are 7 areas that we're going to talk about today on the webinar, and we're going to start with the first one, which is that we are a policy advocate for water efficiency. Now, what does that mean? It means that as a national organization, international organization that promotes the efficient and sustainable use of water, we exist to promote the better utilization of that concept, not only in programs that water utilities run, but also in national and state policy. And we are increasingly becoming the go-to organization for questions on a national and international basis. So because we are existing as this national organization, we become the search organization. When people search for water efficiency, we also become, for those involved in government processes, one of the first calls that they get made. We're also involved in negotiations that are probably less obvious to people than Congress or state legislatures. And those organizations are Plumbing Product Standards, ASME. We do work with codes, ICC, IAPMO, and ASHRAE. We are very involved in all of those entities. We are involved in the LEED process, so in the development of green building specifications and the improvement of water efficiency's profile in green building specifications. We are involved in those. And we're a very active member of the Plumbing Efficiency Research Coalition, founding member. So we are a voice for water efficiency in all of these areas. We are particularly active in the U.S. On the federal level. It's no secret that we don't have a federal policy on water efficiency. Other than the WaterSense program, we don't have a real strong national emphasis for water efficiency the way we have a national emphasis for energy efficiency. And so we are seeking in a very aggressive way parity for that water efficiency issue. And by parity, we mean not only policies, but we mean money. We have spent in the U.S. alone billions of dollars on energy efficiency programs. And what have we spent in water efficiency in comparison? We have never had a dedicated consumer rebate program on water efficiency that's sponsored with federal money. We've never had tax incentives. We've never had strong policies that encourage water efficiency funding, either with energy efficiency money or with other types of funds. The revolving loan funds administered by EPA allow water efficiency funding, but there's such a long list of infrastructure needs. Water efficiency typically doesn't get funded with those monies. So we need to make sure water efficiency becomes a strong issue. We have meetings with key policy leaders in Washington and in state legislatures. We testified before Congress. We testified before the Senate Environment and Public Works Committee a few years back. We're now going to be testifying later on in the month before the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee, talking about the connection between water and energy. And in that advocacy, we're doing it not from a lobbying perspective. We're doing it as an informational source. The committee calls us and asks us for our expertise. We come and we represent the interests of our members and talk about the importance of this issue for our membership. As part of the membership benefit, we track any legislation that's proposed in Congress. Our legislative watch page, which I will show you, is a very good source of information for what the latest is on the federal legislation side. But we also track state legislation, and we let our members know when there's a bill of significance that's emerging. So when California passed legislation, when Texas passed its legislation, and when Georgia passed legislation, all setting new plumbing standards for those states, we let you know as members of these developments. So this is the kind of work that we do on the national policy front. Some of the sample bills we're particularly interested in are any money that provides consumer rebates that will help you in your programs. It's always good to not have to be the only one solely funding these efforts. And then the better connection between water and energy. Energy efficiency money should be used to fund water efficiency programs, even when they're cold water programs. That's the message that I'm going to be giving at our congressional testimony later on in the month. We want you to be able to benefit by all of those funds that are out there. So finally, the Legislative Watch page does track a lot of those bills, and we'll show you in a little bit where you can find that on our website. So that's the policy advocate piece. Second area of membership benefit is that by joining us, you are part of a larger network of organizations that all are in the same boat. They all want to make sure that their work, their products, their programs represent the latest state-of-the-art information. And what better way to determine whether you're state-of-the-art than to communicate with your peers as well as with us as an umbrella organization. So we're building a national network. I should say it's really an international network. That's probably a better word to use. We are 365 organizations that are part of the Alliance for Water Efficiency. Our numbers continue to grow, and our organizations are not just in the U.S. and Canada, but all around the world. And they represent all of these different stakeholder categories: water suppliers, water planning agencies and government, appliance and plumbing and irrigation manufacturers, retailers that distribute efficient products, the environmental and energy advocacy community, government agencies at the federal, state, and municipal levels, and those in the university community. All of these stakeholders are not only represented in our membership, but they're represented on our board, and we want to make sure that any solution that is new, that is devised, has the buy-in and the support and the technical knowledge of all of our stakeholders in that process. I think people are fond of saying we adopted the 1.6 gallon per flush toilet standard too quickly. We didn't get the information from the manufacturers that we should have in those early years. This is what we want to avoid going forward. We want that open dialogue of our entire network so that the solutions that we devise are ones that make sense for all of us. So where do all of our members exist? Here's a map that shows our membership plotted across the U.S. and Canada. You can see that we have very good national representation. I think we probably need to do some work in North and South Dakota. But aside from that little stretch where we don't appear to have a lot of members, we have members in just about every state, and we have members across the Canadian provinces as well. And we have members that are elsewhere in the world. The country of Jordan has been using our tracking tool to plan their water efficiency programs as a country. In Australia, we have a number of members that are using the tracking tool for the same purpose. And we'll talk about the tracking tool in a little bit. But although we're not focused on international members, we're very pleased to see that our work is getting the kind of international attention that shows that we're obviously doing something that's important. I personally chair the International Water Association's Water Efficiency Specialist Group, so we're very active in finding out what's going on internationally and making sure that we're part of that discussion and dialogue. So we welcome our international members and hope they continue to grow. But we are primarily focused on the U.S. and Canada. That was our first charter mission, was to support those two countries. And we wanted to do so with a network that would allow members to really participate. So we have standing member committees that as a member you are allowed to participate in. You can't be part of these committees unless you are a member of the Alliance. So we have three committees: education and outreach, water efficiency research, and a committee called Water Sense and Water Efficient Products, which focuses on new technologies and comments on specifications for new products. We do these meetings by conference calls. Generally, each committee meets every couple of months. And we encourage a lot of member involvement in these committees because these committees basically govern and help us decide on the projects that AWE works on. And the projects we are doing that we'll talk about later are a direct result of a lot of this committee work. We meet once a year at Water Smart Innovations. We have an in-person meeting in October at that conference, but all of the committee activities are generally undertaken by conference call. So as a member, you can attend all three committees if you like, and that's an open process. We'd be happy to have you. So let's move to news and information, which is the next area of member benefit that we provide. We spend a fair amount of time to ensure that you get the best and the most quick news as possible. We send out broadcast emails on a weekly basis that talk about events and hot topics of interest. We publish every 2 months a newsletter called Water Efficiency Watch, which is both emailed to you as well as posted online. And it's a searchable newsletter, so there's lots of information that you can get from that. We maintain a very detailed calendar of events in the water efficiency world. So if there's something that you know about, if you don't find on our calendar, we would love to post it. We want to make sure that we have everyone's calendar information. We are especially interested in what our members do. Those, they get priority posting rights for events. So do coordinate with us if there's something that we've missed. And we also maintain a detailed online resource library, which we're going to talk about, and the legislative watch page, which I've already mentioned. So these are key news and information pieces. Here's a slide showing our website. This is, if you haven't been to our website yet, this is where everything happens. This is the place you should bookmark. This is where you should visit on a regular basis. And what this website shows you is that there's the calendar of events. There's a section called Latest Information that has the latest postings, and then a series of topics on the home page that relate to what exactly we're working on at this moment in time. You'll see in the green navigation bar that's up at the top, you'll see that we have a resource library, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And in the News tab, right here, we will feature the Legislative Watch page. So if you click on the News tab, it will have a drop-down menu that will show you the Legislative Watch page. The website is probably the first big thing we did when we opened up our doors in September of 2007 here in Chicago. We just celebrated our 5th anniversary of the organization. We started up on July 1st. So in the 5 years, we've done quite a bit, and the website was the first big member benefit topic that we worked on. We built it in 2007. Our use is growing. Our statistics in 2011 showed that we had over 9 million hits on the website during the year. On a daily average, about 25,000 visitors, hit, that is, during that year. The users were at 768,000 user sessions on the website in 2011, which was a daily average of about 2,000 people. Those are pretty impressive numbers. It shows that people are coming to the website, that they're looking for information, that we are a source of that information, and it's a needed area of activity. Lots of documents get downloaded. We're very proud of the fact that the resource library has a lot of information for people to use. So the web statistics tell us that there were 371,000 documents that were downloaded in 2011. These are all very good numbers. Of course, the numbers are only as good as the high quality of the content on your site. So we are always in the process of updating content. We modify the site every single day, but we're now going to be undertaking a fairly massive rewrite of the resource library to make sure that that information is topical and accurate. So what is this resource library? Well, it's a very deep part of our website that has detailed information on programs, products, and practices. Very heavily used by the conservation community. It's probably the only place where you can get all of this information in one place. The Legislative Watch page is, of course, one of the pages people visit a lot. But we also have, in addition to specific topics, we have information sorted by state and by provinces. What kinds of programs and incentives and requirements are in place in laws and regulations in the states and the provinces. And all of this work is being updated as part of our state scorecard, which we'll show you in a little bit. So here's an example again of the website showing the resource library. When you click on that tab on the green navigation bar, you have all of these topics that are all separate parts of the resource library that you can click into. Or you can go straight to the home page and use the search tool and search for something that you are in particular looking for. If you're looking for a document or a particular topic, you need to go to the resource library search tool, because the search bar at the top of the main website is only searching the web pages. It's not searching all of the documents. And the resource library search tool that you see here on the screen will do that. And it'll pull up pages like this. So if you clicked on drought and drought response, you would get this page, which has a whole series of pages connected to it, and provides you an in-depth discussion of that particular topic. So that's the news and information function. We spend a lot of time on that to make sure that the information coming to you is the best information available. And so that's one of the issues that we consider a strong member benefit. But we also provide services above and beyond that, and that's something I'd like to talk about. The technical assistance service is exclusively for members. Maybe the information on the website is now open to the general public, but asking us questions and getting us to do research for you, that's exclusively a benefit for members. Our staff and our consultants, we're all on call to serve you. So whatever question you have, you can contact us and we will get you the answer. We're available by phone. You can contact us by email, whatever's most convenient for you, and we'll respond. As part of that technical assistance, we also prepare analytical tools for conservation program evaluation, and we're going to show you our tracking tool, which is specifically the one we finished to date, but we'll be building others as well. We are available to do presentations at your meetings and conferences. I get a lot of requests to come and speak. I give priority to those requests from members. And we're happy to come and help you with your conferences and your presentations. And we also provide regular training in the form of either workshops and webinars on a variety of topics. And all of these services are free to members. Here's a list of the type of topics that we have done training on. Again, either for an in-person workshop that we've held on site in various locations, or for webinars like this one. All of these topics are topics that we have covered in some way, shape, or form over the years, and we'll be doing a few more. Codes and Standards is a webinar we'll be doing this fall. So we are looking forward to adding to this list and hearing your ideas for additional topics that you would like training on. So please feel free to let us know. Some of the other services that we provide are discounts on publications. We try to get the latest publications that are of interest for water efficiency and try to get you a special deal, a special break. We will often buy large volumes of the publications to get that break and then sell them back out to you. So we are happy to do that. We also provide for every member a free climate change DVD, which can be used for service club presentations and others. It's an excellent presentation, and we can get you the climate change DVD in quantities to purchase if you'd like that. We get you conferences on discounts on conferences, where we can get a co-sponsor slot that enables you to get a discount on a registration fee. We attempt to do that. We will post your calendar events. We will post your conservation positions that you want to advertise on the jobs board. And because we get such great viewing of our website, jobs on our jobs board get a brisk activity. So consider posting with us as a member benefit. And if you've got particular programs or projects that you're proud of and that you'd like the rest of the world to know about, we'd love to feature you in the newsletter. We are always looking for member stories where we can highlight the wonderful work that our members are doing. Again, this is all free to our members. So one of the services that I mentioned that we do is the tracking tool, the water conservation tracking tool that we've built. And this was one of the first analytical products that we put together. We will be doing more, but I wanted to spend a few minutes and just talk to you about this one because I think this is a good example of the type of analytical work that we are becoming known for. This is an Excel spreadsheet. It's free to you as a member. It's geared toward the water utility system and analyzing how water efficiency programs are beneficial or perhaps not beneficial for that particular water utility system. So based on your costs, your system dynamics, it takes a look at various conservation measures, ranks them, analyzes their water savings costs and benefits, and it helps you construct long-range water conservation plans and portfolios. It also will help you track your actual implementation, which is the reason we call it a tracking tool, and will help you track your water savings and your costs. It'll show you the energy savings from those water conservation programs, from the cold water side as well as the hot water side, and also the greenhouse gas emission reductions from those energy savings. So this is a very important tool for making that water and energy connection. But it does something important, which I think in this particular economy is very relevant to our water utility members. It helps show them what the change would be to their revenue requirement. It predicts what the impact would be on the revenue from those reduced water sales and what the changes might need to be made to the customer rate structure and the average customer bill. So we help you plan in advance for what those impacts are so that you're not hit at the end. You understand what they should be and plan for them to begin with. So this is a very valuable tool. We spent about almost $200,000 to build it, and it's free to members as you're a member of the Alliance for Water Efficiency. So here's a screenshot of the opening of the tracking tool. It does some pretty cool things. It basically, this is the principle of it, takes your system avoided cost information and your demand data for how you're going to grow and combines it with the conservation measure data. So it's a very simple set of inputs, not too complicated, but the model outputs are terrific with lots of charts, savings analysis, a benefit cost analysis, revenue analysis, and an energy impact analysis. And we built into the tool conservation programs that you could choose and that are typical programs that people have run across the country and for which we have wonderful data on the costs and the savings. So you can actually choose all of this in a drop-down dialog box. It's a very simple model to use. But then it gives you lots of great information. Here's a sample screen that shows the conservation program costs in the top section, and then the benefit, and then the ratio, the benefit-cost ratio. Where you see the fields in red, those are programs that didn't pencil out to be cost-effective. So you might want to either adjust the amount of money you're spending on it or maybe eliminate it from the portfolio. It gives you the option to choose based on what makes sense for your system. And then it gives you charts that show in the dark blue line what your demand would have been without anything. In the red line, what the savings are that you're getting automatically from codes and standards. And in the green line, what the savings are that's reducing your demand from the active conservation program. So it shows you the difference between all three. And even if you're not doing active conservation, you still need to look at that red line to make sure you're estimating your demand correctly, because those background codes are saving a lot of water. Here's a graph that shows the electricity savings, just as an example. So it shows you that this model will track all of that. And here's the chart that shows the revenue requirement change. The blue bars show what change you need to make in the short term for conservation programs. The red bars show, well, if you did it on a debt financing basis, you wouldn't have a change in your revenue requirement until 10 or 15 years out in the program. So it gives you information on how to plan for those programs. And the reason I'm showing you all of this is that not only if you're a water utility is this tracking tool a terrific deal, but if you're a business, you need to know that we want to build a tool like this for you. That we would like to build a site facility analyst tool that's very similar, that'll give you all of those same return on investment calculations and energy calculations for your facility. So that's coming. The next area is consumer education. This is an area that we are just starting our work in because we want to make sure that we're not spending all of our time with the conservation professional. We need to help the conservation professional in involving the customer. Because if you don't involve the customer, you're not getting your conservation message or your water efficiency message through to them. And most customers are completely unaware of their own water usage levels. They consistently tell market researchers that they use far less than they actually use. And they also seem to think that if they conserve, that they want the rates to go down and certainly their own water bill to go down. They don't understand that the costs are rising for a whole series of reasons that have nothing to do with efficiency, that have everything to do with maintaining infrastructure in the system and the dwindling amount of federal and state subsidy that's available. They still don't understand that, and unlike every other bill that they pay, they think their water bill should go down if the system is using less water. So we have a significant education burden here. We need to first educate them on their own water waste and their own water use. And so we decided we wanted to help members address this need. No matter what stakeholder category you are, this is a topic that affects you. So we began developing in 2012 some consumer tools. And the first one we started with was the Home Waterworks website, which is a whole new website that we developed and launched in 2012. And we're very proud of this site. We think of this as a major member benefit. Because if you're any one of our members that wants to link directly to this site can get from us a linking package that has their name on it, and then they can, when the web user clicks from their website into that logo, they go right into the Home Waterworks website as if you had built it yourself. So we view this as a major member benefit. The website has a water use calculator, and I'll show you some screenshots from that. It has a lot of water-saving tips and detailed information on consumer products such as toilets, clothes washers, faucets and showers, outdoor irrigation, and including landscape design, installation, and maintenance. And so it has a separate URL from our regular Alliance website. Regular Alliance website is Alliance for Water Efficiency, all one word, .org. This one is home-water-works.org. And again, we have a linking package, a membership linking package, which you can get from us. Just send us an email. Again, it's available, free to members. So here's what the Home Waterworks website looks like. The logo up at the top, the little purple house with the blue bubbles, this is what the logo looks like that would have your name right underneath it. And this is the home page of the website, which shows the water calculator as the main item. And the water calculator is something we did in conjunction with the Field Museum. They had built a graphically superior calculator that needed a little bit of help in the calculation department. So we decided we would partner with them and we would build the back end of that calculator, and they let us host it on our website. So here you have it. So you click there to start. You get these wonderful graphics of a house. The little magnifying glasses are areas where you would go in to get more information or to answer more questions. And the questions are all simple little dialogue boxes like this one. How much water do you use in the bathroom? The typical person in my household takes how many showers per week at home? Typical person. So you answer that question and then you go to the next question. Very simple responses. And with a very few number of questions, we do a preliminary quick estimate because we know that people get tired of answering 50 questions before they get any kind of feedback. So we give them 4 or 5 questions really quickly, then we get an estimate, and then you go back in and click on all the little magnifying glasses to refine your answer. So in this particular case, the calculator estimated 265 gallons per day indoors and 57 gallons per day outdoors. So if that sounds too high, the person can go back in and refine the calculations and get a more accurate answer. But what the customer gets at the end of the process is not only a tab that shows them their results, but also their comparison with the average house in their zip code and a water-wise house in their zip code. So it shows how good they could be if they tried. Gives them also lots of information on where they use water and where they can most productively improve it, and then how does the energy use with water efficiency programs. That's what this site does. We also decided we needed to have a companion consumer campaign, a campaign that would bring to the consumer in the usual ways that we're communicating these days, basically by social media, how a consumer could be water efficient and what they should be thinking about. So we wanted to develop a campaign that our members could use, whether you were a water utility or whether you were a business and industry or an advocacy organization. where you would have your logo along with the Alliance's on print ads, on social media materials. And the concept of this program was based on the concept of reducing water waste. There's a drinking water bottle that is a symbol of a quantity of water which could be made equivalent to water wasted, and I'll show you a picture in a minute. The purpose of this program is to educate customers on how much water they might be wasting without thinking about it. And there will be a stainless steel water bottle as part of this campaign, a BPA-free bottle. And again, this program will be made available free of charge to members. All of the campaign development costs have been absorbed by the Alliance, and we'll have special member pricing for the bottles. So what does this look like? Well, here's an example. Here's one of the ads. This ad says, the water or running toilet waste can fill 800 of these bottles in one day. And there you see the bottle. So the bottle is the symbol of a quantity of water that's wasted. A running toilet can waste 800 of these bottles. So it puts in context for the customer, oh my gosh, that seems like it's such a small little drip, but it really can end up being a lot of water. So the whole campaign is related to that kind of a message. Here's another one. Letting the water run while you shave, waste 32 of these. There's another one. The U.S. population grows by one person every 15 seconds. The total amount of water in the world, really, grows by 1 gallon never. So you're getting the drift, I think, here of this campaign that we've developed. The water bottle, again, is going to be a physical manifestation of that and will be printed with all these wonderful messages on the bottle. I think you can see on the bottle there's a QR code, which will be actually a two-way snap tag where the customer can get regular messages from us about their water use. Here's another one of these ads, the total amount of water on Earth versus the water we can drink. So this is a campaign that we've developed that we want to be rolling out very soon. We think these ads are really catchy and wonderful, and we're very hopeful that those of you out there who are interested in this kind of campaign will realize that this is something that you can have from us free of charge. The bottles themselves can be either purchased through the Alliance, or you can do a bulk order at greatly reduced cost to you as a member. But the campaign itself, even without the bottle, the campaign itself to you would be free. So this is the kind of member benefit that we want to develop for use by our members. And then lastly, and I see the time is going, so I want to finish up by just talking about some of the special projects that we do. Because the special projects are ones that come from ideas from our memberships, but also come from needs that we perceive that helps you. For example, we publish a number of reports, and a few of these reports we've done over the years. I know you've seen them, but I wanted to just talk for a minute about them. The first report that we did quantified how many jobs could be created with efficiency programs. Everybody's been talking about jobs now for the past 5 years. And during the stimulus bill, when that was being developed, we were hoping to convince Congress to put in $10 billion for water efficiency. I mean, there were $280 billion for energy efficiency. We didn't think asking for $10 billion was excessive, but of course we didn't quite get it. But this report documents what a $10 billion investment in water efficiency would have given the United States in terms of jobs. It would have created between 150,000 and 220,000 new jobs. The range depends on what types of conservation programs are funded. The programs like leak detection involve more people than, say, toilet rebates, so it depends on the mix of the programs that are funded. But the most important conclusion was that it provided an economic benefit multiplier of 1.3 to 1.5, which meant for every dollar you invested, you got $1.30 back, up to $1.50 back. These were quality, high-quality investments for the United States. So this report is posted on our website. Here's the shorthand version of our website. If you don't want to type out allianceforwaterefficiency.org, you can use the shorthand, which is A4WE.org, and you can find the report on our homepage. We also did a project on the water and energy issue, and we did this after holding a stakeholder workshop with about 75 people from all across the country. And those 75 people developed a list of over 50 recommendations that are included in this Blueprint for Action document. It recommends state and national policies and programs to better link the water and energy issues. Again, this is posted on our website, but this is a foundational document that we are spending a lot of time talking about all across the world, as a matter of fact, because some of the linkages that we're pointing out that need to be done are issues that are true in every country. The issue of how much embedded energy there is in water is understood in certain places like California, where they've spent a lot of money to research it, but not largely anywhere else. So these are the kinds of issues that we were promoting in these reports. We also did one on water conservation pricing and rates, and we held some stakeholder workshops in the Great Lakes area. It was funded by the Great Lakes Protection Fund, a grant from them. And so we prepared a water pricing primer, and you'll see it says for the Great Lakes, but I happen to think it's great advice no matter where you are. And we're continuing to work on this issue because we know that revenue losses and the problems are causing difficulties for understanding where water efficiency even pencils out anymore. So these are issues that we're continuing to work on. We'll be preparing a white paper in November of 2012 of this year, which will talk about the issue of revenue loss and how to practically climb out of that hole of revenue loss. We're convening a summit of general managers and rate experts from all over the country this summer to talk about it. And so this primer, while it's already published and posted, will be supplemented by a lot more work in this important soon to come, state scorecard. You have seen probably, if you've been following our emails, that we have a draft report out that inventories state laws. This was funded by the Turner Foundation. We released the draft on May 1st and had a 60-day comment period. We got lots of comments. The bottom line is no state got a full A, but we had 2 states that got an A-, lots of states that are Bs. And so what we want to do is issue the final report the next couple of months. We want to spend some careful time addressing the comments, the very thoughtful comments that we've received. And so the final report we expect to be published in September sometime, and we'll do a webinar just like this one to talk about the scorecard. Fundamentally, this scorecard matches an energy efficiency scorecard that's been done for 10 years or more by ACEEE. And what we wanted to do was create a parity document that would show that water efficiency also needs the same kind of policy consideration that energy does. So also some guides on affordable home design. We all know that you can build a McMansion and a luxury home for lots of money that's extremely water efficient, but what if you're building a house that's basically based on a Habitat for Humanity plan? You really need to consider what is actually cost effective for a developer to do on a mass scale for an affordable home. So we're working on this. We expect to release these guides sometime this fall. There will be an indoor guide for plumbing appliances and hot water systems, and we'll focus very specifically on redesigning the hot water delivery system in an affordable way of the house. And then, of course, an outdoor component on landscape and irrigation. So these guides are in process, and they'll be coming out sometime this fall. So in terms of more special projects, here's a list of things that we're currently working on. The Conservation Stream Flow project, that's actually been completed, and that report's posted on our website. We're working on industrial water audits with the Great Lakes Protection Fund, and we'll have some results and information on our website related to that. We are partnering on a study of demand hardening, getting some research together on whether this phenomenon exists, and if so, what to do about it. We're participating with the Plumbing Efficiency Research Coalition on drain line carry and how reduced flows from these very efficient fixtures in commercial buildings could potentially be causing problems in drain lines. We hear stories, anecdotal stories, but we never had actual proof. This is a study that will attempt to come to some empirical conclusion. I mentioned we're doing some research on the root causes of utility revenue loss. There'll be a white paper on that. Our AWE Research Committee is looking at gray water program recommendations, And we also want to develop protocols for industrial water benchmarking. And the site facility tool that I mentioned earlier, like our tracking tool, is something we really are trying to fundraise on right now to get some needed funding to put this together. But we're also interested in your ideas. You're our members. We want to respond with research projects that are of interest to you, with special projects that will serve you. We're hoping that the affordable home guides will be something that you can use in your work on a regular basis, just as an example. But if we don't have a project that meets your needs, we'd love to hear about what you'd like us to do. That's part of what we consider our member benefits. So to conclude, why join AWE? We're back to our elevator speech. We are your one-stop shop on water efficiency. Call us, and if we can't get you the answer immediately, we'll make sure we do and get back to you. We have your back. We care about the issues that are of concern to you, and that includes your own economic reality. We are very aware of that, and we want to work with you to make sure that water efficiency is carefully calculated to help you achieve your goals. And lastly, we are the sole national voice on this issue, and we represent you. And so being part of our network helps you be represented in the national voice that we have on this topic. So in closing, this is now the time when you've got any questions. We'd love to have you ask them. Hopefully you've typed them in. The recorded webinar will be available shortly. Jeffrey usually goes through a little bit to help get the recording cleaned up and in proper form and so matched up with the presentation, etc. So he'll be posting that as soon as he gets that done. Our next webinar will be sometime in September. We haven't chosen the date yet, but we are planning to have it be on the state scorecard. We probably will also do another one very closely, if it's not in September, then maybe in early October, on our consumer media campaign, because what I've shown you is a little tiny peek at it, but there are a whole lot of questions that we still need to have answered, which is what is the pricing structure for orders for the bottles, how are we going to roll this out, how do we coordinate with our members. Members, of course, get access to it free of charge, but how will all that work? So we will be holding a webinar on all of that. But the topic that we know we're going to do in September will be the final AWE State Scorecard report, which we're very happy to be able to show you. So at this point, I want to close with my formal presentation. I want to thank you all for those of you who are listening who are members of the Alliance. Without your membership support, we would no longer be here. It is our members that keep us going and keep the lights on and keep us as staff working on your behalf. So I can't stress enough how important the memberships are to us. So thank you. We do appreciate it. I appreciate you taking the time to be part of this webinar today. And I'd like to ask Jeffrey about the questions at this point.
Yeah, thanks, Marianne. We have received 3 questions, and they kind of have come about when you were talking about specific member benefits, and so they sort of relate. The first one was when you were speaking to the various committee participation, and this person asked, is the AWE Water Efficiency Research Committee looking at non-portable systems?
Well, the answer to that is yes. The research committee, because it is not a funded research pool of money like a foundation would be, you know, we are prioritizing what projects we need to work on first. But alternative sources, and especially the cost effectiveness of alternative sources, is one of the topics on the list. And it's something that we're very, very interested in. We know gray water is one of those alternative sources. It's the first one that we picked because it's got a number of questions concerning its cost effectiveness on a retrofit basis. So that's why that topic is being looked at. We do get questions about, do we work on rainwater? Is rainwater something that the Alliance for Water Efficiency focuses on? And we don't spend a lot of time on rainwater catchment. That is a topic that's dealt with by the American Rainwater Catchment Association. But we do have information about it on our website, and we will probably work a lot more on it in the future.
Wonderful. Regarding membership cost, how much does membership cost in the Alliance for Water Efficiency?
Okay, well, that's a great question because the answer is it depends. And I know that's not always the most useful answer, but it depends on how big you are, and it depends on what your stakeholder category is. So, for example, if you're a water utility, a retail water utility, membership is a penny a connection. So if you have, say, 100,000 connections, your dues to the Alliance for Water Efficiency on an annual basis would be $1,000 a year. If you're a wholesale water utility, your dues are basically based on how much water you sell. So it's $25 per million gallons as a rough formula. And there's a minimum of $500 and a maximum of $25,000. So it depends on what size you are. And so the same is true for business and industry. It depends on either if you're a manufacturer, what your gross revenue is in terms of sales as to what your dues are. For a manufacturer, it ranges from $2,500 to a maximum of $10,000. For consulting firms, it's on a number of employees. So employees cost, if you have 1 to 5 employees, you can pay $250 a year. If it's over 250 employees, it is $5,000 as the maximum. So it's all scaled on size, and that's true for nonprofits. You know, you can join as a nonprofit for $250. If you have a really big budget, the maximum size for a nonprofit would be $1,500. So what I would encourage you to do is to go to our website. On the green navigation bar, there's a tab that says Join, and you can see the membership categories there, and you can figure out where you fit in that list.
Great, thank you. Regarding this particular presentation of the webinar, someone asked as an attendee, will they be emailed once the recording is posted on the site? A quick answer to that is I'd say yes. So I'll make sure everyone is emailed to let them know exactly where it's posted on the site so they can just, after a couple clicks, be watching it. So another question relating to the tracking tool and a webinar regarding the tracking tool. Would we be scheduling a tracking tool webinar for new members anytime in the near future?
Well, we did a webinar on the tracking tool early on, and we attempted to record it, but we didn't realize in those days that you had to mute everybody in order to get a decent recording. There's a lot of background noise when you enable everyone to talk. So we did not get a usable recording out of that tracking tool webinar, so I apologize for that. But we can do it again. In fact, we do training on the tracking tool free of charge for new members, so you don't have to wait for a webinar. We'll actually do a workshop for you or train you on it personally. But we will probably do a webinar later on this year on the tracking tool again, because we constantly make adjustments and improvements to it, and I think by the end of the year we might actually have what will be a version 2.1 rather than just version 2. We're making some tweaks and improvements, and so we'll have a webinar to talk about that. So that's a great suggestion.
Wonderful, thank you. And then the final question that I received so far relates to the Home Waterworks site, and it's our friends and members up in Canada. They're just wondering when is available a version for Canadian or metric going to be available.
Okay, I'm so glad somebody asked that question. First of all, the Home Waterworks site is written in both gallons and liters. What is a problem at the moment is that the calculator is based on U.S. zip codes. So we are working with our Canadian counterparts to use your postal code. Apparently you have the postal code database that links to evapotranspiration values. So once we get that, we will change the Home Waterworks calculator so that initially it'll ask you, when it asks you for your code, it'll ask you first, are you U.S. or Canada? And then once you click Canada, it'll go to a database of the Canadian postal codes. So you'll be able to use the calculator right away with the Canadian postal code. The calculator itself, we're making some modifications to that to not only remove the flash components, because that's no longer going to be supported by Adobe, but we also want the calculator to run on iPads and other tablets. But when we do that, we can put in to the calculator itself liters as well as gallons. Maybe make the Canadian just automatically liters. Once they put in the Canadian postal code, it'll automatically go to liters rather than gallons. So we're going to be working on that this year. We're very interested in having a strong Canadian presence with the Home Waterworks site. So even though the text of the web pages has both liters and gallons, the calculator needs to be fixed to do that too. So we're definitely focused on that.
Thank you. There are no further questions.
Well, I actually did it within the time block. I can't believe it. So we finished in just about an hour. I want to thank all of you for being part of this webinar and for your interest in the Alliance for Water Efficiency. If you have any questions once the webinar is over, please feel free to email us. We'd be happy to answer them. And just remember, we exist to serve you. We created this organization for you. So it's very important to us that we make you happy and that you believe that this is a worthy and important investment, an ongoing investment for you in your organization. Whether you're a water utility or a business or a consulting firm or a nonprofit group, we believe that all of these issues are important for you as well. So let us know if there's anything more that we can do, and we will be posting this webinar. For those who would like it just as a straight PowerPoint presentation, just let Jeffrey know, because we can send you that separately without the embedded narrative from me. So thank you again for coming.